Hello and welcome back to The Outsider's Perspective. My name's Ollie and here's your loaf of daily bread. Today's quote comes from the late Joseph Campbell. And it goes a little something like this. The first step, detachment or withdrawal, consists in a radical transfer of emphasis from the external world to the internal world. A retreat from the desperations of the wasteland to the peace of the everlasting realm that is within. In a word, the first work of the hero is to retreat from the world scene of secondary effects to those causal zones of the psyche where the difficulties really reside. There's quite a bit to unpack in this quote, so I'm just going to get right into it. Joseph Campbell's work, in case you don't know him, revolved around world mythology and religion. And over a lifetime of studying these stories, Joseph Campbell determined that there was actually only one story being told and retold in different formats. And he called this story the monomyth. Mono meaning one, and myth meaning myth. So next time you're watching one of your favorite movies or reading a novel, try to identify this pattern. You start off in the ordinary world with the hero. Something happens that forces the hero to leave the ordinary world. Or maybe the hero leaves voluntarily, seeking adventure. This is the departure and the start of the adventure, the start of the hero's journey. A lot of things happen along the way. I'm not going to get into all the details because you could literally write books about it, and of course Joseph Campbell did. So if you're interested in the ins and outs of the monomyth, I highly recommend The Hero with 1,000 Faces, because it's not just about these old stories. It's about how these old stories are still relevant to us today, because they're not actually about monsters and gods and what they appear to be about. They're actually talking about the inner journey, which I think we should all be taking at some point in our lives. Each of these stories pertains to the human psyche, which is the same in all cultures, which is the same in all eras. The human psyche has not evolved for a very long time. And all the troubles that we perceive in the world today, they all stem from the psyche. And they're the same problems we've been having for the last 10,000 years. And so the task of the hero is not to go out there and slay monsters. The monsters don't exist in the external world. The monsters exist in the psyche. And it is these monsters which are standing between us and a realization of a greater truth, something that is more real than what we have been taught to believe is real. So the work of the hero is to leave behind the external world of effects and to go within into the world of causes. And it is there that the real difficulties lie. It is also there that the difficulties are identified and eradicated. So anything that's going on in your life that you feel is a problem, Joseph Campbell would say that the source of those problems lies within. Isn't that what the Stoics were saying too? When you got a problem with a person or a situation, your problem isn't the person or the situation, it's your opinion of those things. And that, of course, exists within. And so you see, the problem is not actually the problem. It's an effect. It's a byproduct. The cause, the source, is within, in our beliefs, assumptions, expectations, and so on. And so the hero's journey truly is an internal one. Because no problem out there can be solved, no matter how heroic you are, until you can see things for what they are, and until you can acknowledge that there are no problems. Only different situations. The problem is not the situation, but how we deal with the situation, how we think about the situation. And of course, that determines how we feel about the situation. All right, well, that's it for me. I'm off to get a coffee and go to church, so thanks for joining me, and live well, my friends.